Hi everybody, it's only me and Quankle Quankle. He's going to promise to be on his best behaviour while I talk about some tunes. Hey, Quinny, shh! It's no Wednesday Woof. No, it's no Wednesday Woof. No, Quinny, no, it's no Wednesday Woof, you ain't Wednesday Woof. Hey, Quinny, come here, come on. You come down there, right, you stay. Right, you stay there, I have to. It's not boy. Hey, Connie, shush! It's time for daddy. No, it's time for daddy, no time for dog. Right, lie down. Come on, you shush, I'm talking here, man. God's sake, if it's no the Queensway spiders, it's wolfing dog. Shut up, man! Right, I think that's him now. I just want to talk about the solo works of Rob Halford tonight. We're going through the band's Fight 2 and Halford. He's just one on the boot. Rob Halford singing as Judas Priest. Probably the greatest heavy metal singer of all time. Got a kind of radio friendly sound to his voice, but he can hit the screams and he can sing pretty much anything in a heavy metal style. So he left Judas Priest in 1992 to form a band called Fight, which was back in the time moving into the kind of grunge, less kind of cartoony heavy metal, more kind of street metal, if you want. And he formed a new band. I think he was actually going to have it concurrent with Judas Priest, but he got told that they weren't going to finance it or something. The record company Sony weren't going to finance it, so he ended up having to leave Judas Priest because of restrictive practices. But this is the album here. It's an album called Fight War of Words. It's actually a really decent start. I would put Fight's War of Words in the top 10 metal albums of the 90s. A really, really good album if you've never heard it. It's hard to say it's heavier than Judas Priest, but it's a different kind of heavy. All the songs on there are really good. No as maybe melodic as Judas Priest, and the music isn't quite as intricate, but the first couple of songs there, Into the Pit and Nailed to the Gun, I think he still plays them even now when he's playing live with his solo bands. Helen's favourite, Immortal Sin and Contortion, and quite a nice heavy metal track at the end here called Reality, A New Beginning. That was a really good start for Fight. No sure if it was worth leaving Judas Priest for. And the guitar player on it, a guy called Rush Parrish, and I think he plays in Steel Panther. I'm not really a big fan of Steel Panther, but I think he plays in Steel Panther. Really, really good guitar playing on that album. So if you could get hold of Fight War of Words, it was a good start by. They brought an EP after it called Mutations, which I didn't actually get at the time, but I did get in a box set that I got later, so I'll talk about that in a minute. The next Fight album was called A Small Deadly Space. I think this was in 96 maybe. This is totally different. This is fully embracing the kind of grunge rock of the time. Really, really heavy, down-tuned guitars with kind of experiments in kind of groove metal. War of Words had been more kind of traditional, but this is a totally different thing. A Small Deadly Space. You really have to be in the mood to listen to this one. The different lead guitar player as well, if I remember right, Brian somebody. I can't remember. I haven't listened to this album for a while. But if I'd move on and talk about, they brought these out because he was running his own record company at the time, and he compiled all the Fight stuff into one box set, including the Mutations EP, which I didn't have. This is worth tracking down if you're looking for Fight. Remixed versions, the two albums there. Shh, no, shh. He's making stupid dog noises. It's only him, it's not me. War of Words remix is alright, doesn't make a lot of difference. Small Deadly Space remix actually makes the album a lot better. That's the one I would listen to now. And the Mutations EP is actually just remixed versions. Back for the days when you would have like dance mixes and stuff. Again, for singles, when you used to release singles back in the day. On the, I don't know, where the hell is it now? Oh, it's near the live track's nearly there. It's quite a nice version of Free Wheel Burning. And there's also a version with a live version of Solar Angels for Judas Priest Point of Entry album. The DVD's alright, but it's kinda, somebody's just filmed it with a video camera in the crowd. It's not really a pro shot. And then not long after that he brought out this, which is Fight War of Words, the film, which I bought this expecting it to be like a feature film, but it isn't. It's just a wee short film we made of the same concert footage and the War of Words remixed version again. So if you want to get into Fight, get this, but don't get this. But after that he kind of wrapped Fight because it was kind of dying on its arse. As good as it started, Rob Halford at the time was still seen as a kind of elder statesman, kind of old guy. Ken, when you're talking about guys in their mid-40s jumping about with woolly bonnets on or tattooed heads or whatever, pierced nipples. Later on he would also bring out that, which is Fight, the K5 demos, War of Words. It's just the same thing again, only it's the demo versions of all the songs that were on the album. Again, worth listening to a couple of times. Jesus Saves, a song that was actually on one of the albums as a kind of hidden bonus track, but only for fans of hardcore Rob Halford fans, which I'm one of obviously, but I can't really recommend that for buying. There's not really that much on it. So that was Fight by, and this was coming towards 97, 98. He announced a new project called 2 with Trent Reznor out of 9 Inch Nails. This is the time when Judas Priest eventually fund Tim Owens to sing Ripper Owens, as he would be called, on the Jugulator and Demolition albums. And Judas Priest had put their foot down and says, look, Rob Halford's never going to sing with Judas Priest ever again. So Rob Halford puts together this industrial thing. And I can remember at the time reading a magazine and opening it, and Rob Halford was sitting with like blacked out eyes, a black, kind of dyed black beard with like a house coat and slippers on. And that was when he came out as being gay, which at the time, Ken, folk always say to me, surely you knew he was gay with the leather gear. Is that, Ken? Honest to God, you didn't? Because I remember at the time, man, God's sake, man, Rob Halford's gay. But he come out with this, Ken, it didn't really make any difference now, 20 years later. But he come out with this album's called Voyeurs, by the 2 project. This is a real oddity, this album, with songs like I Am a Pig and God, I can't use it. I remember listening to it a lot at the time, but oh, hang on, I'm holding that upside down. That's what it is. I am a pig. Water's leaking. My ceiling's low. Ken, just a bunch of kind of daft songs. I actually came across the demos of them later, and they were actually a lot more kind of traditional, kind of hard rock, heavy metal songs. But Trent Reznor, taken them away and kind of remixed them all. So if you're into your 9 Inch Nails or your late 90s alternate rock, then you could do worse than get hold of that. And it's a bit of an oddity album. There's no Rob Halford style screaming and stuff. And again, that folk talk about Rob Halford being the metal god. This is a guy that at the time I can remember him saying like metal's dead, blah blah blah. And know that kind of want to browbeat him for it or whatever, but it's just remembering the feeling of the time. And the late 90s were really grim when you were into heavy metal. You had Bruce Dickinson doing a couple of good kind of things, you had UDO still bringing out good heavy metal albums, but you had Iron Maiden with a different singer, Judas Priest with a different singer, AC/DC were kind of still about but not really doing as much. Whitesnake were gone. Richie Blackmore was out of Deep Purple. Heavy metal was totally on its arse. Tony Martin singing with Black Sabbath. But the Bonds are all still gone, but the star power's not there. So you were sitting there wondering to yourself, with Rob Halford saying heavy metal's dead, then you're like, Jesus Christ, man, it must be dead. But then there was a magazine that came out at the time called Classic Rock around about 1999, and they used to give away free CDs, and one of the free CDs had a track by Rob Halford's new band, just simply called Halford, and the track was called Resurrection, and I heard it and I was like, hey, that's no too industrial rock, that's heavy metal, Judas Priest style. And then the album Resurrection came out maybe around about August, September 2000, around about the same time as Iron Maiden's Brave New World album with Bruce Dickinson singing. And this isn't a joke actually, or me just even making this up, because even Gordon will remember this. This is the album for me. This is the one that brought heavy metal back. Halford's Resurrection. Iron Maiden's Brave New World was no bad, but Halford's Resurrection, it's just about, I would even say it's as good as a Judas Priest album. Rob had obviously realised that he was gone nowhere, doing things that folk didn't care about. So you had this, the track Resurrection there, that's your kind of Painkiller style, really high singing, fast track, 1-2 Made in Hell, and then the rest of it you can't go wrong with this. If you get this, if you're a traditional heavy metal fan that likes a bit of Judas Priest, Halford's Resurrection is definitely recommended. And I would put it, it's always hard to rank things into your top 10 or whatever, but Halford's Resurrection, I have no hesitation about calling one of the greatest heavy metal albums of all time, aptly named Resurrection. So he was on a roll after that, went big world tour. I can mind seeing him played in December 2000 at the SEC with Iron Maiden. Rob Halford supporting. I actually thought Rob Halford was better because Iron Maiden's sound was kind of crap on the night, but Rob Halford was good. He played Tyrant at the end of his set and hit that big scream at the end. It was absolutely amazing. Toured the world, and then this album came out. It's a Halford Live Insurrection. If you get your dates right here, this was in 2001, I believe, when Rob Halford was celebrating 30 years of playing heavy metal. And Judas Priest brought an album out called Metalworks 73-93, which celebrated 20 years at the time. And then next year, which is actually 2020, he's celebrating 50 years. So it just seems as if he picks whatever year he fancies out his arse for whatever anniversary he's having, because 2001, 93 and 2020, you can't have different years all the time, Rob. But this album, if you look at the track list there, you're talking about the new stuff, Resurrection, Into the Pit by Fight, Stained Class, live version of Stained Class. Quite exhaustive actually. It's like a double CD album, so it lasts for about, it must be about 2.5 hours, with 3 studio tracks on the end there. Really excited to hear at the time. Screaming in the Dark, which is a really, really heavy song, and 2 songs there, Heart of a Lion and Prisoner of Your Eyes, that were written by Judas Priest. Unfortunately, none of the 3 of them are actually up to Resurrection standards. Resurrection was brilliant, but Ken Day songs just didn't set me alight at all. But I would recommend getting good to get a smattering of Judas Priest in there with plenty of Rob Halford solo stuff. His band were absolutely on fire at the time. We were waiting for the next album come out in 2002. Nowadays you wait 4 or 5 years for follow-up albums. It's Crucible. This again, it took a kind of turned away from the kind of traditional metal and kind of went back to the kind of fight style. Somewhere between Fight and Resurrection, this album, and a bit long and a bit unsatisfying actually. Handing Out Bullets a good track, Hearts of Darkness a good track, Golgotha good track, but the sound on it, it's an awful loud album, and it can actually be quite a chore to listen to, and I wanna. But that was in 2002. 2003 he get the call to go back to Judas Priest, so that was his solo career on Hod for a wee while. He done a Christmas album in there as well, which I never got because I don't really like Christmas albums, called Halford 3. He's just done another one as well called Celestial. I'll not be talking about them here because I don't like Christmas albums. Again, what's the point? You only get them once a year, and then when you do hear them, it just reminds you that it's Christmas and you hate it. But once he'd done a wee bit of Judas Priest, he went back to doing his Halford thing, and he brought out another live album as a DVD as well, called Halford Live in Anaheim, with Roy Z playing the guitar, because his other guitar player Patrick Lachman had left to go and play in the whatever that band was with Dimebag Darrell. Was it Damage Plan? I can't remember anyway, but he left to go and do that. So Roy Z, famous producer and guitar player, plays on this with Metal Mike Klasiak. Also on the drums is Bobby Jazombek, who had played on Thundersteel by Riot. So I mean, a really, really good band he's got. And if you look at the track list in there, Ken, Stare Out a Painkiller, Rapid Fire by British Steel, and then a lot of Halford and Fight tracks, nothing but two, no surprising, but Ken, deep Judas Priest cuts there, Ken, White Heat, Red Hot, Never Satisfied, that kind of get. The whole thing's gone brilliant, it's gone absolutely amazing until they play this version of Victim of Changes. It's the shits. Pardon my French, but Ken, the Bond Judas Priest stuff so good the rest of the concert that when you get to Victim of Changes you're like, what the hell happened there? And then at the end there you get another thing coming and alternate takes some of the Crucible songs live in Japan. He did one more solo album. This is Halford 4 Made of Metal, and at the time it was hard to really make out what you make of this, because it's a mixture of songs about bullfighting, boxing, NASCAR racing, and what's that again, 25 Year, which is a song about how we had been gay for the world for 25 years. But it's actually quite an entertaining wee album at the time. It was like, what the hell is this? But again, with hindsight, it's actually, a lot of these are kind of catchy heavy metal rock songs until you get to the last song. The More really stands out because it's ridiculously and stupidly heavy compared to the rest of the album. Again, so you just wonder what he was doing. But after Resurrection, I would say Halford 4 Made of Metal's the second best. He never really done much with it. It was just like a kind of a kind of carry on by this time. He didn't really need a solo band because he was back playing Judas Priest. But he did on a DVD, and this is the soundtrack. Here's Halford live at Saitama Super Arena in Japan. Really weird soundtrack album because it's as if there's a 5 or 6 songs at the end of the gig missing. But this is where to go if you're looking for live stuff after the Made of Metal album. Kind of Undisputed is on there. Unfortunately, Matador isn't on there. Matador's one of my favourites for Made of Metal. And Hellraiser on Made of Metal actually sounds like stained class era Judas Priest. But again, more Judas Priest stuff. Diamonds and Rust. The real Diamonds and Rust. No the acoustic. Get the acoustic guitars out and play Diamonds and Rust. None of that. A bit of Jawbreaker for Defenders of the Faith. And good old Resurrection stuff like Cyberworld. Resurrection. Locked and Loaded. It's I'd get Live Insurrection first, and then Anaheim after that, and then I'd lead the Saitama Super Arena to the last one, because it's not really essential. He has got a compilation album out. This one's called Metal God Essentials Volume 1, and it's like a mixture of Resurrection and fight stuff. He's kind of buried the kind of 2 era. I think this was just to get his own record label thing going, because it's like all the fight stuff's all the K5 demos. A couple of new songs there, Forgotten Generation, Dropout, and there's a wee DVD there with a couple of videos and that. He has remixed all his stuff. There's a remixed version of everything. Even the remixed version of Crucible sounds a bit better. You would think if he actually brought that out the first time. Still too many songs. 16 songs is far too many songs for an album. 10 songs if you've got songs that last for like 4 or 5 minutes. 10 songs is just perfect. 16, too many, too much, too exhaustive. So anyway, that's a wee guide through the selected solo works of Rob Halford. Whether we'll get any more, who knows. He is getting on a bit, and they should be getting KK Downing back into Judas Priest. I don't care what MD says, KK Downing should be in Judas Priest. Rob Halford left Judas Priest on their arse and got to come back. I don't see how KK Downing doesn't get to do it. See, Judas Priest, if you've no got, when you've got a band that's as heavy on the signature guitar sound of Judas Priest, if you've no got either of the 2 guitar players, it isn't Judas Priest. It sounds like Judas Priest, and it kind of might look a wee bit, it's no Judas Priest. It was the same as when Ripper Owens was singing in place of Rob Halford. If you've no got that signature part of the bond, then that's that. So thank you very much. If anybody sat through this, then thank you very much for watching. I'm just going to go away, and I need to get this dog. What are you going to say, dog? You going to say? Nae woofing? Nae woofing before we go? I think he's got to hear that now. He knows it's my time on the telly. Well, not on the telly, on the interweb, or on the internet or whatever. But enjoy the rest of the night, and I hope we wake up with some good news tomorrow. We'll see. Right, have a nice night. See you later. Right, bye, dog.